Good afternoon. Today we'll be introducing the text All Black Everything by Luke Fiasco with relation to racial discrimination. Our main question we aim to answer through this FOA is how has Fiasco used language to describe the battle for racial fights and where they stand now. Luke Fiasco is an African-American songwriter who mostly creates raps that delivers the message of equal rights between races and to reduce racial discrimination. All Black Everything talks about the fight that the African Americans and Americans had against racial discrimination, mentioning in detail with examples of Martin Luther King, providing an account of his experience as an African American in America. Fiasco's targeted audience is the general public, as Fiasco wanted to drill the concept that no matter what color an individual is, we are all equal. Therefore, our own personal interpretation of the underlying meaning of his work implies he does not only want to fight for the rights of blacks, but also for the equality of all races combined and abolish the idea of racial discrimination.
So Fiasco was a troubled child. His parents were divorced, leaving him scarred and vulnerable at a young age. Soon after his parents were divorced, he was bullied in school due to his nerdy appearance and his race. However, the biggest influence of his life would be his dad. His dad taught him how to shoot guns as they lived next to a cracked house and often encountered drug dealers on a daily basis. His childhood left him in an unstable state, and now he pursues to create an impact upon society to fight against racial discrimination. Fiasco has greatly expressed his ideas and takes on discrimination, focusing on blacks and how they came to be one of the most influential races today, through his use of allusions, AAVE, diction, and structure of the song as a whole.
Fiasco has made allusions to emphasize the almost hopeless fight for equality the blacks faced, and his dream of an idealistic world where racial discrimination does not exist. Through bringing up allusions, Fiasco has been able to create the mood of guilt by reminding his audience about the hardship his race endured, as well as to create a stronger image to describe the pain they faced and the treatment they received. To add, with the current generation, we are all taught that racism is bad, and all of us would have gone through some sort of racist acts in our lives. Through real-life examples, Fiasco has been able to connect with his audience by sharing with them the pain and suffering each politician and person went through for equality. From his song, he mentions, so there were no slaves in our history. The allusion relates far back to when the whites first came to Africa and took the blacks as their slaves, mainly because there wasn't enough white slaves to go around. This line shares the message on how the white slaves have forcefully changed the way third parties interpret the blacks, from being a very free and joyful culture to now being used as a description for an individual who's of lower class. Fiasco made an allusion with a children's
grows up to be a lawyer.
book named Little Black Sambo. This book was about a lazy black child, which Fiasco has used to describe how the world sees his race. Even after slavery has been abolished, there is still a lingering effect causing social harm to Fiasco's race, and one of the stereotypical traits is being lazy, which has been clearly shown in Little Black Sambo. Little Black Sambo was also one of the most popular stories read by both adults and children at the time. Luke Fiasco has chosen to use this book rather than other books, mainly because a lot more of its audience will be familiar and can relate better to it, because it's popular and it's a well-known book. He then gave examples of how in a perfect world where no discrimination exists, and in his mind a perfect world exists. Through religions, Fiasco has shared with his audience his ideal dream world where his race can fight for their rights without being put down. In relation to political history, Fiasco has also expressed his anger on the biasness of politics, and as whenever a black politician stands up, his or her race, he or she will always get assassinated.
Malcolm Little dies as an old man. Martin Luther King read the eulogy for him.
Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm Little. Through bringing up idols such as Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm Little, Fiasco has created a text where he has broken the barrier from making a good song to creating a moving song where people can relate to. Through including these famous idols who have their work published and well known, he has painted an image to his audience of the trouble he and his race are facing, and as proof of this, idols have fought for it. Fiasco has then taken it a step further, going out of the box and not only thinking about his race, but stopping discrimination against race and region in general, by mentioning the line
followed by Bill O'Reilly, who read from the Quran.
Bill O'Reilly, who came from the Quran. Bill O'Reilly was known to have challenged the knowledge within the holy books of Islam, as well as discriminating acts he has shown towards the Islamic community. Fiasco, as a Muslim, has written this line with a sense of irony, and this has then given me as the audience a feeling of hope that it is possible to have a world where no discrimination exists, which has been clearly presented in all black everything. Through using allusions, Fiasco has been able to create a stronger bond between his audience and himself, as the allusions would make the atmosphere more personal, hence making it easier to deliver his influential message.
Yeah, I really agree with you on this point, because the other artists in the current generation also really promotes for equality for this race and tries to deliver influential messages. Artists such as Akon really tries to promote his race and tries to get the gender inequality issue sorted. Another point, in addition, is diction. Fiasco uses a variety of diction in order to portray his ideas of a fair and equal world. Fiasco uses very influential words that reflect on his thoughts towards society as a whole. Some words Fiasco uses are black, blood, and dream. These words provide a very powerful message to the audience because each one of these words include a very strong meaning to every individual. For example, the word black indicates the black race in society. However, whenever the word black is used, it is often to portray an item as evil and sinister. Hence, Fiasco uses this word to his advantage to inflict guilt upon his listeners. The word plays a big influence in affecting the audience because the message of unjust and malevolence has easily been understood by the audience. Furthermore, the impression a person gets with the word blood is violence and war. When Fiasco uses this word, it serves as a reminder to the audience of the brutality of slavery and violence during the American Civil War, which was a war to abolish slavery. Fiasco uses the word blood to imprint a mark upon the audience's heart, making them realize that the world would have been much more peaceful without slavery and war. Lastly, Fiasco uses the word dream to plant an image inside the audience's head. Instead of using words such as vision or ambition, Fiasco uses the word dream because there is a deeper connotation within this word. Fiasco wants to tell the audience that equality and fairness was something that he has always wanted. However, it has always been something he has never been able to achieve, hence it becoming a dream. Fiasco wants the audience to realize that it is not only possible but vital to provide equality to all the races. Due to the fact that all races have contributed something towards society and to this world, and therefore all deserves to live peacefully together. All the diction mentioned above and all the words mentioned above were very influential because they created images, meanings, and messages to the audience in such a way that the audience empathizes with Fiasco. From these reactions by the audience, it can be said that Fiasco has successfully achieved the mission of spreading the message of fairness and equality to the audience as a whole.
I would like to disagree to your point. I would think that Fiasco used these words mainly because these words had a personal meaning and a personal relationship to Luke Fiasco. He uses these words to then describe his experience as an African American in America. However, moving on, through Fiasco's use of AAV, he demonstrates how powerful the African American culture has grown since the slave era. AAV has developed into a slang for the regular Americans and slowly popularized by musical artists, mostly by the African Americans, then leading to a global spread of slang known as AAV. This then reflects the deep the African Americans took from being slaves and using AAV as a form of communication to now as a worldwide phenomenon. Fiasco has clearly shown that through his use of AAV in his text, it shows how AAV can now also be used as a form of communication to many different races and considered cool or a fashion statement. Some examples of AAV used in the song are
Stayed in Africa, we ain't never leave. Every woman queen and every man a king and when those
We Ain't Never Leave and Every Woman Queen in and Every Man a King in. It has created the mood of a very relaxed and soulful environment, however also a very serious environment. as Fiasco managed to deliver a serious message in a very gentle and cheerful tone. This has impacted me as his audience by giving me a sense of rhythm to relax to, giving me a clear head to think about its underlying meaning. Taking an example of every woman queening and every man a kinging. The AAV in his life are queening and kinging. It has given me a more relaxed and calm mood. Fiasco has simultaneously shared the underlying meaning by using the hyperbole of king and queen to share that in his dream, everyone is the king and a queen, who has complete control over their lives and not be discriminated because of the race or religion. Fiasco has then further brought in two of the most talented and popular musical artists in the 21st century, Eminem and the Jackson 5, who have heavy use of AAV in their songs. Eminem, being a white rapper, is living proof that the style of speaking in AAV has stretched from only blacks to now being used in white music. Eminem is one of the most famous rappers in the 21st century, and his use of AAV has influenced a lot of his fans to speak in AAV.
That inspired 5 white guys called the Jacksons. Eminem fitted in, but then again he inspired a black rap.
The Jackson 5 was a black singing group who mostly sang in AAVE and was known for the soul they had because of their songs. The Jackson 5 popularized the slang of AAVE to the Americans and don't be considered a fashionable slang to use. Fiasco has strategically chosen to include the Jackson 5 and Eminem because they are popular, and this then makes it easier for him to show the vast change African Americans have come through language. If he had used a not so well known artist that has used AAV in his text, in his or her work, his audience would not have been able to pick up on the progress AAV has made. If he had not made AAV apparent in his text, he would not have been able to show the development and growth African Americans had, as their change in language was one of the most noticeable and empowering change they have developed. And it has clearly shown in the heavy use of AAVE in the majority of songs. Through AAVE, Fiasco has been able to show the influence and growth the African Americans had onto this culture, through bringing their slang of English to the 21st century and being one of the biggest hits on in the music and film industry.
Yeah, I agree. I really agree with you there. But for me, to add on, I don't think that not only famous artists from big music and film companies will also use this. YouTubers also use AAVE in their songs or videos to gain worldwide popularity, and artists such as Emmanuel Hudson also gain success through using AAVE, and on the YouTube he will gain lots of popularity and fan support, which will lead to also further awareness of this AAV development. And some other songs that Emmanuel Hudson is famous for are also Church Folks and Questions, and not just Ratchet Girl Anthem, but all of these include AAVE and really raises the awareness to the fans. And last but not least, Fiasco uses the structure of the song as a way of communicating his ideas to the audience. In his song All Black Everything, Fiasco uses rhyming. The stylistic device rhyming originally originated from the Chinese culture, although the British were quick to follow up with nursery rhymes of their own. Hence, this shows that Fiasco is not only demanding superiority of the black race, but equality in general. By using both the AAVE and rhyming, it shows that Fiasco is able to integrate both black and white culture in order to create a piece of music that is enjoyed by many around the world, by people that is of different race, religion, beliefs, color, and skin tone. Therefore, through this song, it can be seen that both cultures can be incorporated together to create something amazing, valuable, and priceless, just like this song by Fiasco. Furthermore, during the hook verse, each line is sang at 4 to 6 syllables. For example, the second line of the hook verse is if you never try, which is 5 syllables. The second part of the line 2 is you would never see, which again consists of 5 syllables. In my opinion, every time a 4 to 6 syllable phrase is sang or spoken, it feels like a chant. It feels like a chant from the public, not just from Fiasco. It feels like a chant for freedom, for equality, just like the speech from Martin Luther King Jr., I have a dream. This chant is targeted is targeting every listener to tell them a story of freedom and equality, which all humans deserve. Moreover, the hook verse is repeated 4 times during the songs, hence indicating the emphasis on the chanting. Chanting for a purpose does not work after one time, but after several multiple attempts to achieve a certain goal. This is what Fiasco had in mind when he wrote the hook verse 4 times, to emphasize of the need of fairness and equality, while singing it 4 times to attempt over and over again to achieve this goal in his dream. And lastly, at the end of verse 2, Fiasco mentions the white rapper Eminem and the black rapper 50 Cent.
Eminem fitted in, but then again, he inspired a black rapper trying to mimic him. And that's who really rose up out of Michigan.
Fiasco mentions how Eminem inspires a black rapper trying to mimic him, and that's what really rose out of Michigan. From my perspective, it seems as if Fiasco was the person that was inspired by Eminem to rap songs in the music industry. However, when Fiasco mentions that's what really rose out of Michigan, I feel like Fiasco was inspired by Eminem due to his white background. Fiasco believes that in the rapping industry, black singers are the dominating people. However, Eminem is able to fit in with the black rappers, even though he's white. Therefore, Fiasco is indicating that there are no boundaries and there are no limits to race. As long as someone is able to achieve, then that individual should be deemed worthy to be and should be accepted. Fiasco is indicating that everyone should be given equal opportunities and not just hold prejudice or stereotypes of a certain race.
I will agree on your ideas on the structure. I also would like to add that this song by Fiasco, it was a mixture between white music and black music, including AAVE and all the words above. This shows that how currently in the 21st century, the rappers and song artists are able to mix these two cultures together, mixing the black and the white, who were once really contradicting and really argumentative cultures. When the whites used to enslave the blacks wouldn't have felt so nice, wouldn't felt so good towards the whites. But now you can see that through gaining their freedom, they are now able to work together in peace and to even share their cultures and their work together to create a song such as Luke Fiasco's All Black Everything, of a song that consists of both black and white culture, along with many other artists such as Eminem, Akon, and so on.
Yeah, definitely.
To conclude, Fiasco has impacted us as listeners through giving us the feeling of guilt, compassion, and empathy towards the black culture and the struggles they face. Fiasco has used allusions to emphasize the almost hopeless fight the blacks had for equality. He used AAVE to demonstrate the power African Americans had gained through centuries. This has shown the black culture that has really developed since it started to the point of integrating their unique culture to the whites. Fiasco has also used diction to provide images for the audience while also evoking the audience emotions through the choice of words. Fiasco has used diction to further express his thoughts and anger on the topic of race and inequality as a whole. And lastly, he has used his structure in this text to convey a strong message of equality to the audience, due to the fact that Fiasco does not only use English of black origin, but as well as white origin, which was seen evidently in his rhyming. He has capably shown that it is possible to merge the black and white culture together, and therefore it is definitely a possibility to achieve his dream of equality. Thus, it can be said that Fiasco does not only use language to describe the battle of racial rights, but also use structure, scientific device to promote racial equality.